The following program is brought to you by our Patreon supporters. You can request podcast topics, enjoy exclusive RPG and video content, and more. Even just $1 a month gets you gameplay episodes a week early and makes you officially cool. Just like our Trash Elite, Rob and the guy from Ohio, DG, Drake Starstorm, Kitty Holbrook, Passion Killer 711, Thomas Austin Jr., Destrucity KTL. Oh, and the other two. I only started counting from the...
It was great.
I messed myself up there. But anyway, I said everybody, and they're great, and you too could be great, like I said before I said that, which is true in both the sense that I said it before I said it, like, chronologically as you're hearing it, and also in real life, because I recorded it months ago, our intro stays the same for tax purposes. I am Eric J. Chucky, joined as always by the boy.
Hello.
This is the Two Nerds Podcast. Today we're talking about y'all in Tejas. But before we get to that,
What's crumping?
what is crumping? It's not cromping. We must pay honor and homage to David Crumpton or whatever that guy's name was.
What's crumping, brother?
What is crumping? I'm going to try to stay positive. So nothing. No, that's a joke. I've been getting deeper into Expedition 33. I finally hit Act 2. It's an interesting game. I hope I am able to continue playing it and finish it. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 came out. It was good. I don't know what. It was good. That's all I got. What you got?
I've been re-listening to an audiobook series, Trader's Tale from the Golden Age of the Solar Clipper. It's through the first 3 books. I think the first 3 books are probably better than the remainder of the series.
A lot of those words sound like words someone your age would say a lot 20 years ago.
That's when the book series is from.
Oh, wow. Fantastic.
So, but that's the only new thing. Otherwise, all the stuff you guys have heard about recently.
Fantastic. All right, let's mosey on into Y'all In. We want to start with a brief spoiler-free review in case...
Honestly, sure. Like, we oftentimes lament, like, why are you coming here for news? But you know what? If that's what you're here for, I don't know why, but I'm happy for you.
You know, I get lost in patterns sometimes, and I'm like, no, I just want to know if I should watch it or not, and I trust these motherfuckers. Please don't spoil this for me. So, I get it.
Yeah, no, all right, absolutely. If you want our spoiler-free opinion of All In Texas from AEW, I have mine. It was fucking excellent. It was there was one match on this card that genuinely disappointed me, and the rest were either surprisingly good with a sort of pall on them for issues not related to what happened in the ring, or really surprisingly good.
I suppose technically every match in main card WWE has a pall on it. Well, that's Triple H, baby. My spoiler-free review was a par AEW pay-per-view in terms of action, which is noteworthy in that only one match kind of disappointed action-wise. I have not been happy about the storytelling for the better part of 2 years now. However, this might be a good time for a refresh. Things happened that made it seem like it might be a good time for a refresh. Time will tell. The main event was sensational. I don't know how you could have improved on that for what it was. So that's kind of how I feel about it. Anything else we want to get into before the 3 or 4 listeners that come to us for news switch off and move on?
There's a piece of news that I want to talk about now.
Okay.
Because it impacts the show and is a fucking bummer.
Big Boom AJ and the Rizzler are back.
There's a second piece of news that I want to talk about now that is a fucking bummer. Adam Cole isn't on this card. He was booked for this card. So if you have avoided all news in preparation of watching All In Texas, which you're going to buy after the fact to watch after our recommendation.
Yeah, like 4 days later.
wild behavior.
Bless you. Thank you. Like, comment, subscribe.
I treasure you more than you
Yes.
can possibly know. You confuse me, but I am honored.
Hey, while I'm calling to action, let us know what you loved about the pay-per-view. Please continue.
He was injured on what it transpires was the collision right before All In. Just a lariat that went badly. Not anything you could have predicted. Just almost the exact same kind of lariat that gave Hanger a pretty severe concussion a few years ago. Gave him a pretty severe concussion, and Adam Cole is already pretty heavily at risk for that sort of thing. So he's not going to be around on this card or for a while. He gave a speech during the show that definitely sounded like a retirement speech. It's a fucking bummer. I hope for nothing but the best for Adam Cole. He is a treasure of a human being. It really sucks to see this happen to him.
I hope that that's just his emotions, because now none of this is confirmed by Cole himself, but it's basically the prevailing scuttlebutt, if you will. So I know while he was recovering from the concussion he got in the match with Jay White. Was it Jay White?
It was years ago. I don't even remember.
Anyway, it was somebody that it was scary. He couldn't fly on a plane. He couldn't drive a car. And he would wake up with this weird sensation, and it really scared the guy. You could tell. And, this might be a reaction of...
He got another concussion.
It's back again.
He woke up with that same sort of feeling in his head and just decided to take the proper decision for his continued life. He's in his 30s. He's got a long life ahead of him. If this is it, if he has to go for his own health, I want him to make that call. It sucks because he clearly loves pro wrestling. But I would much rather him be around for longer as a person than continue to wrestle. And I hope he also has that preference.
Yeah. If you want to support Adam Cole in any way, he's called The Chugs in most places. You can find him, and
he's probably not going to be streaming for a bit, because of the situation. But if he goes back to streaming, I encourage you to look up his stuff. He is a genuine, hopeful, optimistic bright spot in an otherwise shitty, negative internet. This is a fucking bummer, so I wanted to talk about it now because in the show, it really fucking tanked the feeling.
Oh, yeah.
Then it took them a while to build back up. So I wanted to get it out of the way. This sucks. I hope for the best for him.
We watched the pre-show. We're going to go over it pretty quickly like we always do. The Sons of Texas defeated Shane Taylor Promotions in just a match. It was just all the teams combined. I think before it was supposed to be a title match against someone else, and they changed it. I was excited because I got to see the Von Erichs. They didn't seem great.
I know the Von Erichs are a storied and tragic family in wrestling history. I have no personal connection to the Von Erichs. So really, this is just, those guys. Okay.
It's not very personal for me either, but it was kind of exciting to be like, this is a pedigree. The same way I did when Davey Boy Smith Jr. first showed up.
Yeah, look, it's nice to see one of wrestling's many royal families get back on its feet after what apparently is just uncountable tragedy. But, they're
a little green.
I mean, they were mid.
They were green.
This match was fine. It was what it was for. It was 7 minutes. It was a 7-minute pre-show match to keep things interesting in a 2-hour-long pre-show. This was 8 hours of wrestling.
It sure the hell was. Big Boom, AJ, and the Conglomeration, in this incarnation, Kyle O'Reilly, Hologram, and Tomohiro Ishii, with Big Justice and the Rizzler at ringside, defeated the Don Callis family, which was H.E. Cero, Lance Archer, Rocky Romero, and Trent Beretta, in an 8-man tag team match that went on for almost 13 minutes. This one
is your social media, celebrity guest match. I'm not going to speak to... I'm thoroughly uninformed. I don't watch these particular celebrities or know too much about them. I find their shtick mildly annoying. But to be perfectly honest, watching the Rizzler depresses me. That child looks so tired. so very, very tired.
Big Justice seems like he's on board. Every time I see Big Justice, he seems like
he seems fine.
Yeah.
He's living his best life. He's a teenager, and the Rizzlers, he's super rich. I'm sure, set up for life, all that stuff. He's like 9 or whatever, and he looks like he's a 45-year-old business manager.
And not for a business that's going well.
It makes me sad. It physically makes me sad, so I get upset.
I think my favorite parts of this match were Hologram and Hechicero facing off. And also Tomohiro Ishii getting hit once and then taking a really long nap on the floor.
Good for him.
I hope he's okay. Yeah.
He deserves his nap.
I hope he wasn't hurt or anything.
Same.
Third match of the pre-show was FTR beating the Outrunners in a really solid contest.
I would have preferred the Outrunners win, but this match was really good.
Yeah, it was really fun. They all got to show off really well. The Outrunners had awesome Newport pants.
And I love current FTR. Big Stoke is the absolute best add to FTR in FTR history. He really helps their mid-promo game. He elevates them, and they're FTR. They're one of the best tag teams working in the ring, so it really elevates, and they're much better as heels.
Yeah, the heel thing is the biggest thing for me. I mean, their promos are mid, but so are a lot of guys. Them being heels makes them feel more natural.
It feels more like who they are.
I would rather love to hate these guys. Is a motorcycle conference going on outside. I know you heard that. I was just listening to some of our Final Fantasy VIII playthrough, which is on this channel. You can listen to it right now. Please,
Train is very
right
audible.
Now. Yeah, Train is very audible. So Car will be as well. But yeah, I love to hate these guys more than I enjoy trying to love them. Our next match, the actual show, the Trios Championships were dug out of whatever garbage can they've been sitting in for the last couple of weeks. The Death Riders, this time Claudio, Yuta, and Gabe Kidd, were challenging the Ops, Katsuyori Shibata, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Samoa Joe to see if they could take these belts back-ish. And no, they can't.
Yep, no, they lost pretty soundly, pretty thoroughly to the Ops. Good, the Ops are great. This version of the Ops, as much as I do like Hook, is better. The Ops music remains the worst music in AEW by just a country mile.
Not true. We now have Syuri.
No, that is better.
Oh.
It is better.
Okay.
It is more evocative.
Well, that's fair.
It provokes a reaction. It is not a royalty-free light thunder sound effect and a snare drum. I hate the Ops music. It is bad. It is bad music. All of their individual musics are great. Their group music is bad. Please stop it. But they themselves are cool as hell. I'm glad they won the Trios title. Tony Khan has some sort of blood vendetta against the Trios title. I don't know what happened. He decided he hates this title at some point. It is booked so terribly and has been for so long.
Yeah.
But this match was great.
The match was good. That was 5 guys I like and 1 guy I don't like. I'll let you decide which is which. The action was pretty good. Our next contest was the men's casino gauntlet match. All participants being, in order of entrance, Mark Briscoe, MJF, Ricochet, Bandito, Konosuke Takeshita, Mystico, Josh Alexander, who was just Gabe Kidd again, but with a hat, Anthony Bowens, Roderick Strong, Brody King, Juice Robinson, which I think actually somebody's been fooling and edited Wikipedia here. That was clearly Bo Dallas. Kota Ibushi, The Beast Mortos, and Max Caster.
This was a fun. I like the AEW version of the Royal Rumble.
They do have a Royal Rumble, I think.
This is the AEW version of the Royal Rumble.
Sure, or maybe Money in the Bank.
I like I think it's a combo because you win a Money in the Bank contract. I like the random intervals in between wrestlers because it allows them to pace the match much more naturally. There's not as much filler. I like the random and unknown number of entrants.
Yes.
So the match can end whenever the pacing of the show dictates. It is a modernization of the Royal Rumble format. I like that it is a match that is one fall to a finish as opposed to over the top rope because it incentivizes much less grouping up of people unless you are actually a part of the same faction. Now, there is a place for that. I do like Battle Royals because they encourage strange bedfellow situations. This is a fun difference. Juice Robinson shaving his beard is the most tragic glow down. He went into that fucking barber and said, just fuck my shit up, fam.
I don't edit this podcast in that way, but if I did, I would now introduce a clip of Joey from Friends going, it's not a cat. It's not Juice Robinson.
Like, it's just... That's CJ Parker. I'm sorry. That it absolutely ruins his aura. It takes away his Chaos Goblin energy, which was firmly the best part and the most fun part of that character. Now, this might just be me as the little fucking 9-year-old child and dad shaved his beard and now I'm scared. Maybe he'll get it back. Maybe once he talks, he's the same guy and it comes back. But I can't... Brother, why did you do that? Why did you decide to do that? Anyway, it's a complete side note. This match was fun. I will say, if there's one criticism I have of this match, it is that the majority of the people in this match were not people who were going to win this match. There were maybe 3 people in this match who could win this match.
I might go up to 4, but yeah. That's only really with meta stuff. The guy who won was MJF, which was the right call.
Oh, absolutely. It finally makes the Hurt Syndicate's booking make sense. Like, now he actually does. There's a reason the Hurt Syndicate wants to be around him now. It makes it make a little more sense.
Our next contest was the Fatal 4-Way match for the now vacant AEW TNT Championship. Sammy Guevara, Daniel Garcia, Dustin Rhodes, Sammy and Dustin having wrestled during the pre-show, and Kyle Fletcher, the former #1 contender. This was an interesting contest, and there's some theories floating around online about it that I kind of like.
I love how good this match was, given that they obviously had zero... This match was obviously had to be, because of the nature of the universe in which we live in linear time, called on the fly. I love watching wrestlers wrestle matches I know are called on the fly because it showcases a skill that in other wrestling companies is not very prevalent anymore.
This was probably the worst match on the card for me. Now, I don't grade on a curve, so it is what it is.
Now, I imagine part of that was the sheer downer nature of its very existence.
I mean, that's part of it, but really the wrestling wasn't very good. And 2 of the guys were pretty tired.
I would say the wrestling was okay. It certainly wasn't as ridiculous as you see the very choreographed matches you see sometimes.
I agree.
For what they were doing, for calling it on the fly like that, I feel like they did a pretty good job.
I still think it was the worst match on the card. Now that's,
I would say that's not absolutely not debatable. It clearly was the worst match on the card, but it was still pretty good.
I did have one point I liked. I've seen Kyle Fletcher be very reckless lately, and it bothers me. So when all 3 other men in the match lined up to kick him directly in the penis, unprotected, that was pretty good. I liked that spot.
If they decided to do an old school punishment in the ring live on air, then you can't get much more direct than all of the other people in this match are going to kick you right in the prick. And that's, if it was kayfabe and they just did a really good job of selling it, I'm fine with that too. But either way, kudos to all the people for making amazing chicken salad out of a shitty situation. And then the winner, you said there's a theory. I'd like you to... Who won this match?
Okay. Well, Dustin Rhodes surprisingly won. My money was on Kyle Fletcher because that made sense.
My money was on Kyle Fletcher before the show started, back when, we thought it was the original match. I just figured it was his time, as it were.
But I had a backup theory that they eventually want to drop this title to a heel, so they needed a babyface to do it. And so then I thought maybe it would be Daniel Garcia, because he just had the title and that works just fine.
Or an outside shot at Sammy Guevara.
Because TK loves him. It's his best friend ever. Why wouldn't he just throw the thing on Sammy Guevara? No, it was Dustin. They gave it to Dustin.
I would have, if I were allowed to, if I were a betting man and the betting websites let you bet on the results of these matches, they don't. They make you bet on other ridiculous shit because, it's a scripted show. If you understand storytelling, you could do a pretty brisk trade and have mostly wins. So I don't think they let you bet on the results. And I'm not a betting person, but if I were, I'd have lost so much fucking money on this match. I never would have bet on Dustin Rhodes.
No.
Him capturing his first AEW title when he's currently covered in Ring of Honor gold is very surprising to me.
Especially because the guy's on his last year or so of action in ring.
Directly stated, he's on his last ride, as it were. And there's a theory online that you mentioned that he might not have known he was winning, because it ends on a roll-up that it seems like if you watch, you can interpret it as such, that he was trying to like sell that Sammy kicked out of, and Sammy held him in.
Yeah, and if that's the case, that's kind of beautiful from a business perspective. I like that for backstage.
It's very possible he would have never said yes to it. If that is the case, that has to be why. Is he refused to take the win, and Tony Khan dragged Sammy to the side and said, or it may have been Daniel Garcia. I forget which one.
I also do.
It was one of those two. That he took the other person aside and went, all right, Dustin's going over. I need you to make that happen.
But all in all, a fine contest. Tragedy in, celebration out. I think that's a good way to bookend the current situation with the TNT Championship. Our next contest is the Young Bucks versus Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay. If the Young Bucks lost, they would be stripped of their EVP status.
And if Swerve and Will lost, they would not be able to challenge for the AEW Championship for 1 year.
I didn't like this storyline. I think the exits were fine, but the build for this, I could not relate to so strongly that it seemed stupid and fake and weird to me.
I liked the build for this okay. There were certainly some stumbles along the path, but I loved the exit possibilities so much that I was willing to forgive a lot of those. These twin stipulations, I felt, were really well chosen.
I'd agree with that.
Because they made it genuinely really hard to call the winner of this match, because both made sense from a storyline perspective, both gave interesting storylines as a possibility heading out of this match. So it really was a case where either result was absolutely fine because both tell interesting stories. This was incredibly canny booking. I don't know who did it. I don't know if it was the boys in the ring, or Tony or someone else. Whoever did this booking, whoever came up with these ideas, fucking kudos, because this was incredibly canny booking. It made it so I didn't know who was going to win this match, and I love it when you pull that off.
You probably have more to say about the action than I do. Do you want to keep leading on this one?
Sure. I really like the action in this. I want to highlight a few things. One, I am a fairly, I can be superficial. I am not above it. I love an entrance that is cool. I love an entrance that sells how cool the person making that entrance is. That's part of the pomp and circumstance of pro wrestling. And this was, I think, the first of the night, first match of the night, the first of a couple matches that had just fucking peak storytelling entrances. Will Ospreay's, it was much like the rest of him, designed in a lab to make me mark out. Absolutely fucking great pandering. That's what it was, and it was great. Swerve's was full of like cool pyro and a nod to his storied career and a surprise entrance from someone who we haven't seen in the Impact Zone, as it were. And then the Young Bucks was incredibly turbo cringe in the best way, and I loved it. The match itself was great. It was full of great wrestling. The Young Bucks are fucking astounding. They still do. I've watched them wrestle for several years now, and they still surprise me. They do shit that no other tag team does. Even now, nobody does some of the shit the Young Bucks do, and that's so surprising to me, because you would think every tag team in the world would want to cop this style because it's so entertaining.
I mean, that's part of why the Usos got over with us, is they stole the super kick party.
Yeah.
And it worked.
But there's so much, that's so little of what Matt and Nick Jackson do. Will Ospreay is, of course, again, designed in a lab to be my favorite wrestler. And Swerve Strickland is finally as cool as he's been selling himself as for several years. These last couple months, Weeks, definitely, but months, partially, have finally gotten him over the line. For me personally, this is the guy. This is a guy who can and should be one of your top stars. He's finally managed to put it all together. Again, I can only speak for myself, in a package that seems as cool and as, like, the package he's been trying to sell himself as. And I'm absolutely here for it. The match was great, the match was fun, and the winners were who they were. Either would have been fine.
The winners in this situation were Swerve and Will Ospreay, stripping the Young Bucks of their EVP status, giving an emotional win, a maybe better things going forward kind of win, to
setting the stage for new stories going forward.
Yeah, we'll see.
Because the Elite have been heel authority figures for like a year or more now.
It's been, yeah. Next up is the Women's Casino Gauntlet match.
I would state, not even argue, state the superior Casino Gauntlet match of the evening.
Yeah. That included, in order of appearance, Chris Statlander, Megan Bayne, Willow Nightingale, Ty Mello, Tekla, Julia Hart, Queen Aminata, Mina Shirakawa, Athena, Thunder Rosa, Sayuri, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, I don't care to look it up right now, and Alex Windsor. That was a lot of names that are hard to pronounce by reading them. Yeah, I enjoyed this. I wasn't really sure who would win this one. I was pretty solidly sure MJF was winning the men's.
That's one of the reasons I say this is a better... Like, look, it's not for a great reason. For some reason, AEW's women's division feels very flat. That is to say, very non-hierarchical. There's not a lot of delineation between the various... I don't know who's a main eventer and who's a mid-carder a lot of the time. The jobbers, I know. But... So a lot of the people in this match genuinely felt like they could win it. Most of the people, I'd say there was maybe like 2 people in this match who I would go, I mean, well, it's not going to be her. But I think that electricity of not knowing made it a better match. Made it more fun.
Yeah, I'd agree.
You could never tell what was going to happen. As twice they've done that tonight.
Yeah. It's, I mean, one of the basic things I ask for in wrestling, so I did appreciate it. Another really exciting match, very good. Julia Hart was in rare form, and I liked the new people that showed up well enough. I'm not super hot on Alex Windsor. I know, hold your sounds of surprise. But everybody else showed up. Aminata got a good spotlight, and I do like her. More importantly, Athena picked up the victory by pinning Mina Shirakawa.
So Athena... the ROH Forever Champion, the Fallen Goddess, is going to get an AEW title shot against the winner of the women's title match later. And I was excited for either option there.
Yeah, I think that's really a good and surprising victory as far as I'm concerned.
Going in, we were honestly like, well, who could challenge next? Regardless of who wins the match, who challenges next? Who's believable? And regardless of who wins the women's title match, Athena is a believable challenger.
It also breaks the problem I've had with the women's titles, both TBS and the main one, where every new challenger was just whatever woman they most recently got from the indies. Unless you just won the belt, then you'd have a small parade of people who had no hope. And this breaks that. Athena's been here for a long time.
And has been doing the Lord's work over in Ring of Honor.
Yeah. Next contest is a 3-way tag team match for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. Jet Speed versus the Patriarchy versus the Hurt Syndicate. I
would say this is the clearest and best example of it's so over, we're so back. The dichotomy of which in the card by like a mile. When we saw that the fucking Patriarchy had wormed their way into this match somehow, I was amused by it. White Raven was not, but we both agreed that that's cursed.
The news has been going around, and I will fully admit maybe I got worked, that AEW has designed a bunch of titles, among them being the Women's Tag Team Championships, which are not debuting yet. There's some women who got injured that were going to be key to the division, I guess. But as well as a Father-Son Tag Team Championship alternative belt. So it really seemed like the patriarchy, who had suddenly been stapled onto this 2-month feud, maybe it's just been a month, between the Hurt Syndicate and Jet Speed.
It felt like a long time.
It felt like a long time. We're going to go in and, swoosh the titles out from under the Hurt Syndicate, which is just bad.
Yeah, just terrible.
It's just awful.
Like, it would have made me laugh, but because of how terrible, that's just genuinely awful booking. Do not do that.
It is so believably AEW, though, because the number of times I've seen them kowtow to what if we gave Christian and or Chris Jericho a big win out of heel spite or something. I'm so over it. But
the match was good. The match was fun. Everyone did their job. The Hurt Syndicate hurt some motherfuckers. And then they won. And then a much more interesting thing happened.
Yes. FTR was on commentary the whole time, which really diminished things because they're not very good on commentary. But afterward, they got up and had an altercation with Christian, who shoved them off of the apron due to shenanigans, is the short version. And then Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian and Mother Wayne turned on Christian.
And took him out, and we're going to give him a concerto. Heel FTR may exude betrayal particles, is my theory. But this, joking aside, this is the culmination of a storyline they have been building with the patriarchy for several years.
Maybe.
Like, since the patriarchy started, essentially.
Yeah, basically.
This has been the build to this moment, and they finally did it. And the look of sheer satisfaction and relief on Nick Wayne's face when he finally got to put paid to Christian, that's vindication. That's long-term storytelling. And then they did even better.
So what FTR was supposed to be doing on this pay-per-view instead of fighting the Outrunners was fighting Edge and Christian. But Christian really wanted to finish the patriarchy storyline first because, he's been only working on it for like 9-10 years now. With Christian beat the crap out of, who would come to save him but Cope.
Which is even longer-term storytelling, not just because they've been friends for 30 years, but because it's storytelling that goes into WWE. This goes back to, like, his Timu House of Black. I forget their name.
The Judgment Day.
Yeah, Judgment Day. It goes back to the Judgment Day. When he showed up in AEW, he looked Christian in the eye and said, I've done this. I have tried to mentor the next generation. They will turn on you. And when they do, I'll be there. He said that to him. And then they inevitably, in this case because he's a humongous weeping anal pustule of a human being, they inevitably turn on him. And when they did, Cope was there. Like he said he would be. That's so good. And then he saves him, pulls him up, and says, "Go find yourself." Funny callback. I won't take it from him. And that's just, I love this. This is great storytelling. This is a great lead into a big nostalgia run for them. I'm very excited.
This was the most into a wrestling storyline I felt in who knows how long. Man, have I been worn down by MJF and the Hurt Syndicate. I really like this. I don't know that I'm that excited for where it's going necessarily. It is still involving Christian, but everything came together the way it should have. An ideal to which I do not assume AEW is going to match ever based on their track record.
They really pulled it off.
Yeah, they really did.
Christian landed the patriarchy plane, and it was beautiful.
At jet speed, even. So yeah, excited to see where that goes. Mildly tempered excitement, let's say. Next match up was the big one, the Women's Championship match. Timeless Toni Storm versus Mercedes Mone. And man, what a pair of dueling cool entrances. Even if I had not been converted to being a Mercedes fan by her impeccable heel work and her horrible, bordering on Vicky Guerrero-esque cringe gimmick and promo material, this entrance was so fucking cool.
This was, if I hadn't already, like, I pretty much turned around on Mercedes Mone as soon as everyone made peace with the fact that she was a heel. I I've been a fan. I've enjoyed her work, but this I've really loved her work in the last little while, and her build up to this especially. She's been doing just some of the best heel work. Really, genuinely fucking hateable.
If I may add something, this is from a source I'm not sure you can believe or not, but shortly before, in the days leading up to Y'all In, Tony Khan made a very strong implication that Mercedes Mone has no such thing as creative control.
Yeah, he pretty much debunked that myth.
Yeah. And then just kind of shrugged and went, why wouldn't we book her to win? She's Mercedes Mone, which is very classy.
But he's just a genuinely hateable asshole. Really great. And if I wasn't already converted, much like my friend here, the fucking writing in on an Eddie Guerrero lowrider, which is a wonderful bit of tiny storytelling Mercedes Mone has been consistently doing since she showed up in AEW at minimum, which I love. With a giant cloak of her defeated foes, the mantle of woe, with a series of dancers who were all wearing different championship belts because she is a belt collector. That is so fucking cool.
It's really good.
She learns from the best in the business, man. She was in that Triple H entrance. She knows what a fucking aura-filled entrance is, and she delivered. And it was just absolute cinema. But then it was followed by absolute cinema.
I'm not going to take away talking about this match from you, my guy. I liked this one a lot. It was really good, but please, take the reins.
Timeless Toni Storm, spoiler for a podcast later this year, I'm going to be talking about her a lot. Timeless Toni Storm is the perfect pro wrestler. Like, she's really good in the ring. Maybe not the best to ever do it in terms of in between the ropes, but she's really good, and she is an astonishingly good character worker. And this entrance was like actually compelling storytelling in addition to being cool as shit. And then the match itself was perfect. It was a perfect combination of these two. They have great ring chemistry, always a risk with Mercedes. When Mercedes Mone walks out to the ring, God flips a coin, and that decides whether or not she's going to be really dog water or the fucking best wrestler I've ever seen.
I don't think it's as swingy with Toni, but she's got a similar issue. There's a lot of people that she just does not have ring chemistry with.
And, like, these two clicked, and it was bravissimo. Fucking no notes. I loved it. I had a preference, but I was fine with either person winning. Mercedes winning and continuing the belt collector storyline, excellent work. Weird to tie up both your singles women's titles on one person, but that's fine, whatever. It's not like the TBS title matters that much. That would have been fine. I obviously preferred Toni Storm to win because Toni Storm is the perfect wrestler. And I want her to win more. I want Toni Storm to be champion for the next 6 years. I don't care if it's bad booking. I don't care if people get bored. Fuck you. This rules. Toni Storm wins. Great, A+. Mercedes Mone taking her first L in the biggest possible way after Toni has to hit her with like a car and shoot her with a gun and hit her with 3 finishers and like cast an elemental cursed. Really sells how tough Mercedes is. Toni gets the win, moving on to Toni versus Athena, which is going to be fucking great. I'm very excited.
I also enjoyed the match. Next up is Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada, combining the International and Continental Championships into the Unified Championship, which is a bad name.
And a bad belt. Both the International title and Continental title look much cooler than the United Championship. It's a lot cooler, too. It looks dinky. What are you doing?
I'm sure it's a reference to some very important title.
I don't give a shit. It looks dinky.
I don't give a shit about Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada. I didn't see this feud. I wasn't there for it. I complained a lot that AEW wasn't selling this for the history it had. And then they finally started about 3 weeks ago. And, I just also don't care.
I chose to buy in. I didn't see this shit when it happened.
I don't watch
I don't watch New Japan. But I chose to buy in. I chose to look into the matches, to understand the history, to try and understand what gave this its hype. And then they started selling it by its hype, and that helped, obviously. But I made the active choice to no, all right, I'm gonna open my heart to this and accept the inherent hype of being part of something so iconic, even if I don't really. It's like going to a concert of an incredibly famous and storied band that you've never seen before, but it's like their big reunion show. There's an energy there, even if you weren't already a fan of the band. I wanted to be a part of that energy, so I did my best to be there. This, I think, pretty firmly for both of us, was the most disappointing match on the card.
Disappointing, yes. If we take away the fact that Adam Cole wasn't in it from the four-way, yes, most disappointing.
Obviously, the most disappointing creative decision in this show, not real life awful situation.
It just wasn't. It never went to third gear, and
this had the same problem that Okada Danielson had. The first one. It was missing. It was an New Japan style, very slow build into big giant action that was missing gear 3. That was missing the last act. It was rising tension. It was starting rising tension, and we never got the climax. And it just sort of ended, and it was 30 minutes long, and it still never got to third gear.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm going to be honest with you, this wasn't keeping my attention. It was pretty good. And look, it's not like we're Philistines. I looked at this. Pretty much everybody agrees with us that this was a disappointing outing for these two guys in particular.
Please note, when everyone disagrees with us, they're Philistines.
Yes, of course.
That's how that works.
That is as is writ. But, now look, this was a good wrestling match. Kazuchika Okada and Kenny Omega on an off day are still better than 80% of wrestlers to ever wrestle. So it was not bad, but it was disappointing because I was sold Goku versus Vegeta, and I did not receive it.
Yeah, this was like Krillin versus Raditz.
Oh, that's actually kind of good. I that.
Just pulled two names out of my ass. I don't know anything about Dragon Ball except that Piccolo rules.
Piccolo does rule.
Yeah, this was not, after all the hype and all the people telling me, no, they're great. They're the perfect wrestlers. They can do no wrong. Especially after Don Callis was interjected into the storyline, which I like Don Callis. Don
Callis is one of the best Satans in the business. In a wrestling business filled with many a Satan, he's one of the better ones.
But it made the whole storyline seem even more tired than if it was about a really cool event I had to be there for and was not there for.
If the match was literally exactly the same, but you just removed Don Callis and all the Don Callis shit, I think it would have been better. It would have at least then been two warriors going to war, locked in epic combat till Judgment Day and trumpets sound. Two souls at war.
Okada won, which surprised me because it just seems like he's been relaxing, coasting his way through the division. That's okay, no criticism. He's made his flowers. He's paid his
AEW contract is pretty much everyone agrees is him been getting his paper and coasting.
Yeah, this is a victory lap.
Good for him.
Yeah, good for him. No notes.
No hatred, but that is the truth.
Sure.
And, it wasn't surprising to me because it was just him tying the series. There will be another Kenny Omega-Okada match.
That's the theory, right? I wasn't up on the numbers necessarily. I guess from now on, of course there was interference from Don Callis. Now on, the title will be contended under Continental rules. So I believe that's no interference.
Yes, that is no one allowed at ringside and a 20 count.
Yes. So that might be interesting going forward. I do like having a soft gimmick title.
It's probably going to still be the thing on the line for the C2.
Right.
And there's no way Tony gets rid of the C2. He loves the G1 climax too much.
And that brings us to our main event.
Oh, the main event. Why don't you talk about your experience with this build? Because we might be here for a bit.
Oh, God. I'm going to try to be brief because we're already over our standard time. I mean, I do own the network, but,
Hey, we're never going to touch a patch of the show we're reviewing. It was 8 hours. 8 hours.
There's a lot of content to get through. I really liked the Death Riders when they got started, and I really liked the Death Riders a lot longer than other people. And I think it's because Jon Moxley finally put together a character that made sense and was consistent, and he was delivering good promos consistently. Not just the character being consistent, but his performance was. My criticism of Jon Moxley since he got into AEW, his personal demons aside, is that sometimes he clocks in and he does amazing stuff and he wrestles a great match with lots of psychology. Sometimes he clocks in, forgets what day it is, forgets what day the show is, forgets who he's talking to and what nouns are, and then wrestles a match where he punches a guy twice, bleeds for no reason while the camera's not looking at him, and then wins with some sort of move resembling a DDT and or brainbuster that gets called as one of his two finishers, which are a cross-arm DDT or not cross-arm, a butterfly DDT or a butterfly brainbuster. This was an elevation of that. And I think the people he collected and the way they behaved has been very interesting. I really like Wheeler Yuta's storyline. I don't want to go too deep into it here, but him slowly aping Bryan Danielson because he was forced to kill Bryan Danielson and he loved Bryan Danielson is amazing storytelling, and I wish it had gotten more screen time. I wish, honestly, the Death Riders ethos in general got more screen time, because that was my only criticism when it was building.
More explicit screen time.
Yes.
It's a specific criticism.
I've realized the reason for this. Wrestling has commentators. I'm fine with looking for subtext in other genres.
If the play is going to have a Greek chorus in it, they should be doing their fucking job.
They should chorus me. Tell me what's going on, because I don't want to guess and it be copium, not the truth.
Whereas I don't mind the Greek chorus failing to tell this part of this story. I have loved the Death Riders. I know the internet is like, oh god, it's so boring. Oh, it's just the Bloodline again. No, it's fucking not. And that you think they're the same makes you a Philistine.
It is similar enough beats and methodology that I think it was unwise to do when they did it.
I firmly disagree. I think it was better that they did it when they did it. I will fight you people in the Discord. Come join.
Well, and that could be also part of the overall heel gimmick. This is AEW after all.
But the Death Riders, and specifically Jon Moxley's story. There's a video on the internet. It's don't mention better shit on your shit, but I'm gonna. It's called Wrestling Isn't Wrestling. And it covers a fair portion of one specific, of the highlights of Triple H's career. And it covers it in glorious detail, talking about, the business and what's important and what's not. It's several years old. You can find it. I wish...
a decade at this point.
It's a decade plus. Yeah. I wish I could get that for this. I wish I had the creative spirit necessary to make you people understand how good a story Jon Moxley told here. This was great. And
I will say, zoomed out and not trying to have a personal buy-in into this match that we're leading up to here, yeah, he did tell a great story. But when after the Cope match, when the leader of the Death Riders became harried, pathetic, full of shit, a coward,
just his facade broken, and the squirming, twisted worm underneath, the kind of person who does the kind of things that Jon Moxley was doing, that writhing narcissistic core shown for all the world to see. He lost his shit. He was so visibly at the end of every possible rope, every possible time you saw him talking. It was honestly incredibly nuanced and good.
But it was hard to want to watch for me, because I don't want to see the worm. I liked the cool guy that was there before, not even necessarily to root for, but just as an antagonist.
There's two schools of thought there.
Sure.
Sometimes you want your big bad evil guy to be down to his fucking boots, that guy. Just the motherfucker, the peak, the mountain that everyone needs to climb, the baddest motherfucker on the planet, so that when your good guy defeats him, he's that much more impressive for having taken on the God King. sometimes you want that to be what a person believes about themselves, and in truth, that's not who they are. They think that's who they are. Internally, they do. And every time they're forced to confront that cognitive dissonance, it gets worse. There's a reason I specifically called out wrestling isn't wrestling.
There is some throwbacks to that as well, because I think a lot of why Mox didn't define exactly what they were trying to do, what the Death Riders' ethos was, is that he has been portraying his character as kind of full of shit from the beginning.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
He said some shit. There's a line from Pulp Fiction when Jules has had his revelation, and he's talking with the robber at the end of the film, and he recites the Bible speech, and he goes, "Now I never thought about that. I just thought it was some cold ass shit to say to a motherfucker before I capped his ass." Jon Moxley was saying some cold ass shit he thought it would be good to say to bring people into his orbit, to give him power, and it was shit that he genuinely thinks he believes in. Until he was confronted with having to stand on business. And then he realized, no, that's not the important thing. The important thing is keeping the power. And that's such good storytelling. But I am taking time to glow up Jon Moxley here because everybody agrees that Hangman's storytelling has been great. Except you.
I think the storytelling has been great. It failed to do two things. One, Hangman Adam Page, since his heel turn, has been a shadow of a character I loved. I loved the spangled, pink, glittery, anxious millennial cowboy. He was a lot of fun. He had cool action. He was what if Stone Cold was sensitive. He drank a couple beers and then thought about his actions. And I'm not saying that heel Hangman hasn't been good, wasn't good. He was. I saw that for what it was. But my emotional connection to the character was so damaged, I don't want to see you doing these things. I liked it more when you were cool. This is a tragedy.
And you're right. The story of Hangman Adam Page for the last several years has literally been a tragedy.
Sure.
Like in the classical sense, it has been a man... It has been falling down. It has been like a man coming apart at the seams, obsessed with vengeance and violence and trying to find satisfaction in dominance when those aren't the things that give a man satisfaction in life. And he had to go through the dark night of the soul to rise up more triumphant in the doing.
Sure.
You have to have that transformational moment for the victorious moment that will follow it. And I have had faith, ladies and gentlemen. I had no proof. There was no logical reason to believe it would happen because wrestling is so often disappointing. But I had faith. Not that he would win. I would have been mad if he had lost because it would have been bad booking. But I had faith that at AEW All in Texas, Hangman would come out of the face tunnel to his face music, and my faith was rewarded.
I also felt that was probably going to happen. I didn't notice he was coming out of the heel tunnel this whole time because I really have been, my attention has been dropping off hard. I, for the first time, missed 2 episodes of this show this month. I don't care.
I don't know that it's been incredibly consistent, but it has been a trend.
Sure. But anyway, there was a podcast, AEW Games podcast, a couple of months ago where somebody, they do a viewer mailbag at the end of the show. It's Chugs and Evil Uno. And they asked, what wrestler in AEW do you think could pull off, or maybe they came across this question themselves, the storyline of Red Dead Redemption 2. And I'm almost positive I wrote in the comments, is Hangman not already doing that?
With the caveat that, spoilers for Red Dead Redemption 2, in the end, Arthur tracks Micah's ass down and shoots him.
But this has always been good storytelling. It's just not a story I wanted to read. I am good on tragedy for a bit. I spent my teenage years in my 20s slurping up tragedy like the hottest soup. I want to have a good time. And so seeing everything that represented what I loved about wrestling. Not my favorite wrestler. I don't want to oversell it, but like an emblem, an icon.
There's a phrase, and it is true. Hangman Adam Page is the heart and soul of AEW.
And to see that heart turn black hurt. And it wasn't fun to keep watching unless he was on the floor staring Google-eyed at the ceiling after helping Christian. But this has been an excellent turn and burn into this final culmination. This whistle concert preceding someone filled with rage, who finally understands. And we arrive at a match that I don't think I have it in me to describe. You can if you want to, but it was a big... and thankfully not the most egregious, but still a pretty rough clusterfuck of a death match.
They said Texas Death, and they meant that shit. It was overbooked as all hell in the best way, and it ended how it always was gonna. Hangman Adam Page earning his name one more time.
So the other problem with this, and I hate to put a downer on your... championing of this worthy storyline and match. It's a 5-star match. I have the storytelling and the action for what it was. This was not a technical masterpiece, but they did good shit with forks.
I judge things for what they're aiming for, not for what I wanted them to be.
Right. I'm scared he's not going to be able to do it. I'm scared Adam Page is going to do it again.
I have faith. I have no reason. I have no logic. I have no argument. I have faith in the heart and soul of AEW.